As a kid, I've grown up listening to country music, and my parents were always listening to artists like Garth Brooks and Kenny Chesney and Shania Twain. I'm sure at one point you've listened to country music, or even if you do now, but you probably don't know how it got its start and got to where it is today. Music is something that everyone can relate to. I'm always listening to music, whether it's in the car or at a concert. And since summer is getting closer and closer, I find myself listening to country music more and more. So today I'm going to tell you about the history of country music and the evolution. So first I'll talk to you generally what country music is and how it typically sounds. Then I'll talk to you about the history and the background and how it got to where it is today. So first let's talk about country music and what it is. Dictionary.com says that country music is a style and genre of largely string-accompanied popular music having roots in folk music of the Southeast and cowboy music of the West. A lot of people think country music sounds the same and generally has the same style. But according to the Country Music Hall of Fame, there is a huge variety of styles that country music can have. Some of the different styles are country rock, alternative country, bluegrass, western swing, outlaw, and retro. Some country sounds more pop-centered and upbeat, while some songs can be slow ballads. And some artists even incorporate a lot of rock and roll into your songs that you don't even know it's a country song until you hear the artist twang their voice. And since country has a lot of sounds, it has a lot to do with the instruments that the artist chooses to incorporate into their songs. The typical instrument that an artist would use is a banjo, an acoustic or electric guitar, a piano, a fiddle, a keyboard, a violin, or a harmonica. But all artists have different styles, so it's all going to sound different. And country songs always display a message. They can be a religious or family-based song, it could be about falling in love and breaking up, and some songs are even humor-based and comical. Or simply they'll talk about fishing, camping, driving around, and drinking beer. But all songs tell a unique story. So now that you know a little more about what country music is, we can talk about where it came from. Country today is going to sound a lot different than it did back when it got its start. According to About.com, country music dates back to the recordings of the Southern Appalachian fiddle players of the 1910s, but it didn't become a recorded genre until the 1920s. When the cowboy movies were made in the 1930s, the country music became a lot popular, and country music became country actors, and then their careers finally became successful. The Victor record label developed the first country record in 1922 by Ike Robinson, and the first national hit in 1924 by Vernon Dale Hart, and the song was Record Deal 97. And according to About.com, it also says that most historians claim that the moment that country music was born was in 1927 when the Victor record label signed with Jimmie Rodgers and the Carter family. And Jimmie Rodgers is known as the father of music, so it makes sense that when he was signed to the record label, they count that as the birth of country music. So now that you know more about the background and history, we can talk about how it evolved to what it is today. So as the years went on, country begins to evolve tremendously. The sounds begin to change, more artists get involved into it, and the fan base grows as well. According to YoungCountry204.com, the original sounds of country were just a banjo, a guitar, and a fiddle, which is now known as bluegrass music. Hank Williams, who is a huge country music star, changed country music when he started to sing about life and struggles, which is where you get most of your country songs today. And that immensely contributed to the evolution of country music. Another huge contribution was in the 1990s by Garth Brooks. He was very popular at the time, and he started to mix rock and roll into his country music, which is very popular now with artists like Jason Aldean. And the artists also helped contribute to the evolution of country music. More artists got involved, and so as it changed, they would use different instruments, and the sounds began to change up. The songs that you normally hear on the radio are going to sound more pop than country if you listen to country artists like Taylor Swift and Hunter Hayes. And they have more of a pop-based sound, even though they're still considered country music. But if you listen to artists like Brad Paisley, Eric Church, and Josh Turner, they still show off some of the traditional country sounds while mixing in their own personal styles as well. They still experiment with the traditional country instruments that you would hear in the 1920s. And the popularity of country music is growing immensely. Radio stations, TV stations, award shows, and they even have huge annual music festivals that are dedicated to country artists and country music alone. And according to Billboard, there's 42% of the U.S. is a country music fan. The fan base continues to keep growing. So in conclusion, now you know a little bit more about the history and background of country music. Hopefully next time you listen to it, you'll pay more attention to the unique sounds and instruments that the artists use, and the messages the artist is trying to portray. Country music is still continuing to grow more and more popular. So now that you know more about what it is maybe